For today, we're going to be learning contrapositive. Before I look at the contrapositive, one thing I need to do is identify my hypotheses and my conclusion. So let me submit to question number 9. I'm going to look for the words if and then because that is what helps me identify my hypotheses and my conclusion. The hypothesis is the if part, and the conclusion is what comes with the then part. So if I was asking just what's the hypothesis, elephants fly. What's the conclusion? Fish do not swim. Now, for the contrapositive, what I'm going to do for the contrapositive, hypothesis and conclusion are going to switch places. So the hypothesis is going to become the conclusion, and the conclusion is going to become the hypothesis, and I'm going to negate each of them. For example, let me start with the word if. I see the conclusion, it was fish do not swim. I like the word not because it's easy to negate a not. I will just say fish do swim, comma. Then my original hypothesis was elephants fly. I'm going to negate that. Elephants fly, so I will just write elephants do not fly. So the hypothesis and conclusion, they switch places, and I negate each of them. So instead of saying fish do not swim, I wrote fish do swim. Instead of saying elephants fly, I said elephants do not fly. Let's take a look at question number 11 since I have it here on my screen. Let me identify my if and my then parts. My if and my then words help me identify the hypothesis and conclusion. The if part is the hypothesis. The then part is the conclusion. For the contrapositive, hypothesis and conclusion switch places, and I'm going to negate each of them. So the way I will write this will be if, to begin with, it says freedom is not worth having. I like the word not, because then I'm just going to write freedom is worth having, comma, then, so the original hypothesis says it does not include, so I like the word not, does not include the freedom to make mistakes. So then I would just write it does include the freedom to make mistakes. So my contrapositive reads, if freedom is worth having, then it does include the freedom to make mistakes. Notice how after the if part, after the hypothesis, I always have the little comma. And my conclusion, I started with the word then. All right, let's take a look at example number 10. I'm going to find my if and my then words because that helps me identify the hypothesis. That's the if part. That helps me identify the conclusion. That's the then part. For the contrapositive, my hypothesis and conclusion have to switch places, and I have to negate each of them. So then I will write if my original conclusion says you do not have to remember anything. Once again, I like the not because it's easy to negate that. So I'm just going to say you do have to remember anything, comma. Then my original hypothesis says you tell the truth. I'm going to negate that. Now I don't see the word not, so I cannot just erase the not. So I see you tell the truth. I'm going to negate that, so I'm going to say you do not tell the truth. So if you do have to remember anything, then you do not tell the truth. Now let's take a look at question number 12. I'm going to identify my if and my then parts. The if part is my hypothesis. The then part is the conclusion. Now for the contrapositive, hypothesis and conclusion are going to switch places. I'm going to negate each of them. So then I will start with if, My original conclusion said Sam and Sarah will not go to the football game. So I would just write Sam and Sarah will go to the football game. Then my original hypothesis said it is raining. So then I would just write it is not raining. So if Sam and Sarah will go to the football game, then it is not raining. Once again, keep it to the same wording. Do not change the words. Don't, like you guys said, don't be extra, right? Keep it to the same wording. Don't change anything. For contrapositive, hypothesis and conclusion, they switch places, and I negate each of them.